Everyone. Today I want to start with the quotation from your week 6 homepage. Our poem should always be interesting on the phonological level. Sound drives meaning, drives sound, and a reader of a poem doesn't just read the poem, they have an experience of the poem, a sensory experience. Sound is a really important part of that experience, and there is no better way to call up a sound in your reader's mind than to use the language of the poem to make that sound. I want to focus on sound today because, well, you've read about it, but also I think it's one of the last senses we're really consciously thinking about when we're writing. We talk about what we see, we describe maybe some texture. Smell is a big one because it's very nostalgic, but sound and taste are especially elusive. So I think they're especially important to focus on in your revisions and as you're really looking at what word choices you want to be changing. So as a great guide, let's look at this poem by Addonizio that I shared with you. Addonizio's poems are famous for their visceral extended imagery. And by the way, if you want to really up your imagery chops, you can revisit chapter 4 in writing and workshopping poetry, which we had skipped over in my eagerness to get us to form and prosody, which I think are sometimes more intimidating concepts. But there's a great chapter on imagery, and I think actually Guppy quotes Addonizio in that chapter, a different poem. So again, she's a really stellar, a really stellar model for you when you're working on getting concrete images, very specific concrete images that have a figurative meaning that are surprising and enlightening. So in this one, you don't know what love is. Addonizio's speaker doesn't fall in love. She has it dragged out of her like a dead body from a river. And it's upsetting, right? I want to read it to you in its entirety. Pay attention especially to the way the words sound as I read them. Think about where I am struggling, where the sound seems to emphasize meaning, where a word sort of sounds breezy for me to get through or where it's difficult for me to get through. And think about the way echoes can build meaning in a poem. Okay. You don't know what love is. You don't know what love is, but you know how to raise it in me like a dead girl winched up from a river. How to wash off the sludge, the stench of our past. How to start clean. This love even sits up and blinks. Amazed, she takes a few shaky steps. Any day now, she'll try to eat solid food. She'll want to get into a fast car, one low to the ground, and drive to some cinderblock shithole in the desert where she can drink and get sick and then dance in nothing but her underwear. You know where she's headed. You know she'll wake up with an ache she can't locate and no money and a terrible thirst. So to hell with your warm hand sliding inside my shirt and your tongue down my throat like an oxygen tube. Cover me in black plastic. Let the mourners through. Winched. Sludge, the stench of our past. Cinderblock shithole. Ache she can't locate. Black plastic. Ugh, creepy, right? In the poem, Addonizio rejects all of the romanticism we might associate with falling in love and focuses instead on the danger, the very real dangers, and takes that danger and the expectation of danger to extraordinary levels. It's almost cathartic writing this image to the end, to the least lovely place imaginable, black plastic. Listen to the way those sounds here. Let's look. Those sounds here, those K's, those consonants, those explosive consonants, k, plastic, and the challenge of saying black plastic together. It's a struggle. And falling in love is a struggle. And it's a struggle that the speaker is not sure that she wants, right? One that the speaker actually, I think, at this point is rejecting, because if the love is brought to life, this is the end of that love. Arguably, that's one reading of the poem, right? But the sound and the struggle of the sound lets me know that even if the speaker is anticipating that moment, it's hard for her to get there. And so there's some there's a slight hesitation too, and sound can imbue meaning that way. Okay, so yeah, let's get past the party part, the hookup part, the desire part, and go straight to what's done when this is done, where we can grieve it and get over it, because it's hard being here and in love with this need, this want, with the knowledge, right? The knowledge that this could all go wrong. Where else is there potential violence, or even, and especially against the woman speaker? Winched is one of those words that has a double meaning. So it's a homonym for W-E-N-C-H, wench, which is an English word used since Shakespearean times to mean maybe a lowly servant girl or a prostitute. So there's this idea in the homonym, the meaning brought up from the other word, that it sounds like there's this meaning brought up that this is particularly difficult. That falling in love and having this want and having this desire is particularly difficult for a woman. I feel like that's kind of also where no money comes back in, right? How to wash off the sludge, the stench of our past. This phrase really sticks out to me because, first of all, sludge and stench, they're definitely hard to like trudge through, right? And that's the power of this love / desire / this mixture of both, right? The power of this love is to march you through the stench of your past and then start clean, which sounds just really breezy in comparison. Those vowel sounds just sound open, right? Open and breezy. The ST stench sound is really echoed in past, so it's clear that there is upsetting love histories in the speaker's past. They stink, and that sound is pairing the stink to the word past. I love this phrase, cinder block shithole in the desert. Gosh, how many of those have I seen? To some cinder block shithole in the desert. And that one is really emphatic, and it sounds emphatic. Like, where are you going to take me? There? This? To this place? And it sounds really emphatic and upsetting because the accent is on the first syllable of both of those words, cinder block, shithole. So it's really emphasizing what kind of hole is it? It's a shithole, right? So again, opposite of romance, and the sounds are underscoring that. And then perhaps one of my favorite phrases in the poem is an ache she can't locate, because there's this near rhyme with ache and locate, the A and the C, the achy sound. And in the near rhyme, it's almost like a near rhyme almost begs for the full rhyme, which like bake or steak or something else that would exactly rhyme with ache. But locate just tweaks it just enough so that it feels like you're lost a little bit. And so you're lost in the sounds the same way that the speaker is lost in this love. This terrible thirst. And I also love just this colloquial so to hell. It's like at the very same time that the speaker is arguing that the love that she feels for the audience is the audience, remember the addressee, the you, the love that she feels for the you is this powerful. She's also rejecting it because power is dangerous. There's the speaker is at odds with herself in some ways, and language is a way to, again, really, really help her imbue the complexity of the situation and the feelings. So yeah, I love this poem, and I want you to be thinking as you move forward about how when you're revising a poem, like maybe Kim Addonizio didn't have winched up from a river here, but she got through to this sort of scene about how in love and in this desire she felt cheap for some reason. We're not privy to the whole story, but feeling cheap, having no money, and this ache made her think of prostitution and selling the body and in exchange for the body, and maybe then that led her to winched, or maybe winched led her there. But as you're going back and revising your poems, think about when a less specific word could be revised to a more specific word. Did I pull up winch for you, by the way? I pulled up the the Old English, but like this is what a wench looks like. And it hiccups. The sound hiccups through there too. Yeah, think if you can go for a more specific verb or more specific word, and think about the sounds as you try to choose those specific words. Think about the way you want the reader to experience a phrase and why. If you want them to be feeling tense and on edge, there are some tools that you have, such as dissonance, right, that Guppy speaks about, such as black plastic. So that is my craft lecture for today. I hope that as we head into week 7, you're already thinking about revising your poems. Be on the lookout for feedback from me coming soon on your most recent submissions, and have fun this week with your oblique love poems. The exercise, I think, is pretty detailed in the Google Docs, so I won't spend time going over it here. But as always, feel free to ask questions in Slack, okay? Or via email. Bye.